The retirees who actually stay comfortable at 75, 80, even 85 all seem to have one very unglamorous habit in common. They stop buying stuff. Not the essentials, obviously. I'm talking about the money leaks, the shiny little traps, the purchases that quietly drain a retirement account while everyone else is busy pretending they're harmless. And once you see the pattern, it's kind of impossible to unsee. I've watched this play out for years, and I can tell you there are 7 purchases wealthy retirees just refuse to keep making. A couple of them are obvious, a couple are sneaky. And one of them? Yeah, that one is where a lot of people accidentally kneecap their own retirement. Let's get into it. Number 7, brand new cars. I know, this one gets mentioned all the time. But wealthy retirees skip new cars for a much smarter reason than just being frugal. It's not that they can't afford them, they absolutely can. It's that they refuse to pay the instant tax called depreciation. Picture this. You buy a brand new $65,000 SUV. You drive it home, park it in the driveway, and suddenly it's worth about $55,000. Congrats, you just vaporized 10 grand for the thrill of being the first person to scratch the door. After 3 years, that same vehicle might be worth around $39,000. That's a brutal haircut. Wealthy retirees usually let somebody else take that hit. They buy something 2 or 3 years old, often certified pre-owned, and get nearly the same car for way less money. Same heated seats, same touchscreen, same little backup camera, beep beep nonsense, just without the financial punishment attached. Then they keep it. 10 years, 12 years, sometimes longer. They maintain it, they drive it, and they don't panic every time a newer model shows up with slightly fancier cup holders. I knew a retired engineer worth somewhere around $4 million who drove a 2012 Honda Accord until it had well over 180,000 miles on it. He used to joke that the car had outlived 3 phones and 2 presidents. Meanwhile, his neighbor was leasing a fresh luxury sedan every few years and complaining about being tight on cash. Interesting choice. Number 6, extended warranties and random add-on insurance. This is where retail gets a little theatrical. You're buying a washing machine, and suddenly the salesperson leans in like they're about to reveal state secrets. Would you like the protection plan? And they say it with that serious face, like your appliance is one bad decision away from collapsing under the weight of the universe. Here's the truth. Extended warranties are usually a beautiful profit center for the store, not a gift to the customer. If they were such a good deal, they wouldn't be pushed so hard at checkout. Most products either fail early, while the manufacturer's warranty still covers them, or they survive long enough to make the extra coverage expire first. Funny how that works. And then there's the whole buffet of unnecessary insurance people get talked into. Phone insurance, travel insurance on tiny purchases, identity theft protection, pet insurance for things that can't even file a claim, accidental coverage for random nonsense. The list is endless. Somewhere out there, I'm convinced there's insurance for a toaster's emotional well-being. Wealthy retirees are usually very clear on this. Insure the disaster, not the inconvenience. They want proper health coverage, homeowners coverage, liability coverage, the big stuff. But they are not paying monthly fees to protect a blender from unexpected events. If a purchase is so small that you'd be crushed without extra insurance, maybe that purchase was too expensive for you to begin with. That's the real rule. Number 5, trendy renovations. Oh, this one is a retirement account shredder, and people fall for it constantly. The kitchen has to be open concept. The counters have to be quartz, but not just any quartz, the exact shade all the influencers are pretending to discover. The walls need some kind of reclaimed wood situation. There must be matte black fixtures, brass accents, and a door that slides on a rail because apparently regular doors are now offensive. And then, a few years later, the whole look is dated, not classic, dated, which means you paid a small fortune to renovate your home into something that has a short shelf life. Wealthy retirees who stay wealthy usually renovate for one of 2 reasons. The house needs it, or the house functions badly without it. Leaky roof? Fix it. Ancient plumbing? Replace it. A layout that makes the kitchen feel like a traffic jam? Sure, improve it. but they don't rip apart a perfectly serviceable room just because Pinterest has moved on. A mid-range kitchen remodel can easily run $40,000 to $80,000, and you often don't recover all of that when you sell. So every time someone chases the latest design trend, they're not just spending money. They're also gambling that their taste will age better than the market's. A lot of the wealthiest retirees I've met live in homes that haven't had a dramatic cosmetic makeover in ages. And you know what? Their houses still work. Their bank accounts just work better. Number 4, luxury status goods. This one is really about identity. When people first start making solid money, there's often a phase where everything has to announce itself. The bag has a logo, the shoes have a logo, the belt has a logo, the shirt has a logo, the belt has a logo. The shirt has a logo so large it could probably be seen from space. But over time, something changes. Truly wealthy retirees stop needing the signal. They don't buy status anymore because they've already got the actual status. That's the difference. A $400 designer shirt is basically a conversation with strangers that says, "Please notice I can afford this." Real wealth usually gets quieter than that. Much quieter. Wealthy retirees tend to buy quality instead of branding. They'll spend money on a jacket that fits beautifully and lasts for years. They will not spend the same amount on a hoodie just because some designer slapped a name across the chest in giant letters. There's a reason the old joke lands so hard. When you're broke, you wear designer to look rich. When you're middle class, you wear designer to feel rich. When you're actually rich, you wear a plain t-shirt and nobody can tell whether you're loaded or just running errands. And honestly, most people impressed by luxury goods are people who are trying to impress somebody else. Wealthy retirees know that. So they skip the performance. Number 3, expensive hobbies. This is where retirement budgets can get absolutely wrecked if nobody's paying attention. A lot of people work for decades and then think, finally, I can enjoy life, which is great. I love that. But then they pick hobbies that cost more than a small business. Golf is the classic example. The clubs, the memberships, the green fees, the cart fees, the clothes, the lessons, the lunches after, the drinks after that. Suddenly your relaxing pastime has a monthly bill attached to it like it pays rent. Wealthy retirees are not anti-hobby at all. In fact, they usually have them. They just choose hobbies that don't financially punish them. Walking, hiking, gardening, reading, volunteering, woodworking with tools they already own, learning a language with a cheap app, pickleball, which somehow became a national obsession and is still weirdly affordable. Even fishing can be reasonable if you're not trying to do it from a yacht the size of a mall. The math is wild. A retiree who leans into golf, boats, and other high-cost hobbies can easily burn through $25,000 to $50,000 a year. A retiree who keeps it simple might spend a few $100. Over 25 years, that's not a small difference. That's the difference between leaving a meaningful inheritance and asking your kids to help with bills. A hobby should lower your stress, not show up on your statement like a recurring threat. Number 2, percentage-based financial advisors. Okay, this one might ruffle some feathers, but it needs to be said. The financial advice industry has done an incredible job convincing people that they're one wrong move away from financial chaos, unless someone else is taking a slice of their portfolio every year. Now, to be fair, some advisors genuinely earn their keep. Some are fantastic, but the classic model where someone quietly takes 1% of everything you own every single year, that can get expensive fast. Let's say you have $1 million saved for retirement. A 1% fee sounds tiny, right? Just 10 grand a year, no big deal. Except over a 25-year retirement with compounding in the picture, that tiny fee can chew through hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about a potential hit of roughly $300,000 to $500. That is not a small price for occasional reassurance and a stay-the-course phone call. Wealthy retirees usually figure this out sooner or later. Some keep things simple and manage their own money with low-cost index funds, and honestly, that can be pretty straightforward. Others use a fee-only fiduciary who charges a flat hourly rate or a flat annual fee. That way, you pay for actual advice, not an invisible percentage that keeps draining your account forever. The math is painfully simple. Lower fees mean more money stays with you. More money staying with you means your retirement lasts longer. And a retirement that lasts longer is a lot more relaxing. If you're paying around 1% or more every year, I'd seriously run the numbers on what that costs you over the next couple decades. You might decide it's worth it. Fine. But at least you'll know what it's doing. And number one, the biggest, quiet wealth killer, emotional spending. This is the one that takes down more retirements than people want to admit. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, which is exactly why it gets ignored. Emotional purchases are anything you buy because of how you feel, not because you actually need it. Retired and bored? Click. Lonely? Click. A little anxious after scrolling social media? Click. Your friend just booked a cruise and now you suddenly need one? Too? Click. The grandkids visit and you go full sugar grandparent mode with gifts they'll forget in a week? Click. You get the idea. Wealthy retirees tend to develop what I call emotional spending immunity. They don't shop just because they're restless. They don't buy things to fill a quiet afternoon. They don't use shopping as a mood stabilizer. They've usually built better systems for that over time. They call a friend. They go for a walk. They work in the garden. They read. They do something that actually changes how they feel instead of just changing what's in the mailbox. And before any non-essential purchase, they ask one stupidly powerful question. Will I still be glad I bought this in 30 days? That question is a money-saving machine. Seriously. The next time you're about to hit buy now at 10:30 p.m. because your brain is tired and your willpower is basically asleep, pause and ask that. If the answer is yes, great. But a shocking number of purchases fall apart the second you give them even a little time. Because here's the part nobody likes to say out loud: the biggest threat to most retirements isn't just the market. It isn't inflation alone. It isn't even healthcare, as scary as that can be. A huge threat is plain old emotional spending on a random afternoon when you're bored, lonely, stressed, or a little bit sad, and you reach for your wallet to fix a feeling. Wealthy retirees eventually learn that money cannot actually solve emotions, so they stop asking it to. And that shift? That's worth more than a lot of fancy investment strategies. So there you have it. The retirees who stay financially comfortable for decades usually didn't get there by chasing every upgrade, every trend, and every sales pitch. They got there by saying no to the purchases that quietly bleed money over time. While everyone else was financing cars, remodeling kitchens, and feeding every impulse that popped into their head, they were keeping things simple and letting their wealth actually compound. Is that glamorous? Not really. Is it effective? Oh, absolutely. And honestly, the alternative is pretty boring too, because there's nothing exciting about still working at 76 because your retirement got eaten alive by golf fees and impulse buys. If this one got you thinking, do me a favor and hit like. And if you want more breakdowns like this on the money habits that actually matter in retirement, subscribe. Then drop a comment and tell me which one of these 7 hits closest to home. Be honest. I've seen enough financial chaos to know almost everybody has at least one weak spot. Mine? Well, let's just say this is a no judgment zone. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and maybe, just maybe, don't let the late night shopping cart win tonight.